Hello, in this video presentation I want to talk about the celebrification of Canadian politician Maxime Bernier and kind of explore whether or not this has helped his political career and what the reasons for that might be. First of all, however, I think it is important to give you a little bit of background on Canadian politics. This is because the texts that we have read are mainly focused on American politics and American culture. In this video I'm mainly going to refer to the first two texts by Guzman and Riesens. But I also think that these two texts could also be applied to Canada. Now, Canadian identity has always been kind of defined in defiance or like in opposition to the United States. So in the early colonial times, Canadians defined themselves as being like closer or more loyal to the British Crown. And nowadays, like Canadian identity is mostly bound up in having like an inherently more progressive character than the United States. But nevertheless, Canadians obviously consume a lot of American media, even more so when we do here in Germany. Canada's largest trading partner is the United States, and so like Canadians are culturally like overwhelmingly American in a sense. And this has also meant that the celebritization of politics has also taken place in Canada, to a certain extent at least. And this means that Canadian politicians are exposed to similar incentives as our American politicians to market themselves as celebrities and engage in celebrity practices. A good illustration of all of this was a recent appearance of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Oh, glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Now, do you guys get to show up in Canada?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good. Just
yes,
want to make
do.
sure you know.
What
we do
might
here.
be part of why I'm here. To,
Exactly.
You know, Canadians watch as well, you know?
Now, obviously, there are still a lot of differences culturally and politically between Canada and the United States. And pertaining to my topic of the celebrification of individual politicians, I think there are two very important points. First of all, geography and identity are as important or sometimes even more important in Canadian politics than like the traditional divisions between left and right and urban and rural. So Canadian politics is additionally polarized between Western Canada and Eastern Canada and between Francophones, so French-speaking Canadians who mainly live in the province of Quebec, and the rest of the country. Now, Maxime Bernier is actually a very good illustration of this. When running in his native province of Quebec, he lists his name on the ballot as Monsieur Maxime Bernier, but when running in English Canada, he's running as Max Bernier. Furthermore, it is a lot harder for individual Canadian politicians to become celebrities. There are a lot of reasons for this. American politicians obviously benefit from the immense mediatization of American politics and the social media exposure that American politics gets. But there are also a lot of structural reasons, and perhaps the most important structural reasons is that Canadian political party leaders have a lot more power than they have in the US. If you think of like political celebrities in the US, like AOC or Bernie Sanders or even Sarah Wagenknecht here in Germany, a lot of these people became political celebrities by being somewhat transgressive, by challenging the establishment, building a personal narrative and a personal brand around that, like defiance and transgression. And this is just a lot harder for individual Canadians to do, because party leaders have a lot of control over candidate nominations or social media use by candidates and even by elected members of parliament. And this just makes it a lot harder for individual Canadian politicians to stand out from the crowd and like be loud and be heard in the national news media. There's actually a recent episode of the Canadian news show At Issue, where I think Canadian journalists Andrew Coyne and Atiyah Raj really summed this up very well.
They cannot vote the way they like, they cannot speak the way they like, they can't debate except to read out speeches that have been written for them. Basically their job is to stand up and sit down when they're told, and to show at all times undying devotion to the leader,
The Conservatives are not allowed to do shows like on the CBC, for example. They are monitored, all of their comments are monitored, and they are told not to say anything, even on issues like labor issues, because they don't want to deviate from the leader, even if the leader may not have a position. So they cannot voice their own individual position.
Now, of course, I also wanted to give you kind of the opposite view.
Finally, you know, with regard to members of parliament, our system of government is not like the United States, where everybody is a free agent and everybody's building their own profile and everybody's trying to, you know, cut their own profile and build a sort of a social media empire and fundraise constantly in order to stay in office. We have a parliamentary system where people caucus together.
With all of that out of the way, now I wanted to talk about Maxime Bernier. So I don't really want to bore you too much with biographical details about the man. What you have to know is that in the early to mid-2000s, Maxime Bernier was a rising star on the Canadian political scene. He was first elected to Parliament in the 2006 election that brought the Conservative Party led by Stephen Harper to power, and he was almost immediately appointed to cabinet. He first got the job of Minister of Industry. Now Canada has a lot more cabinet ministers than we do here in Germany, so his portfolio was roughly equivalent to the responsibilities that Robert Habeck has these days. The reason why Maxime Bernier became a rising star was because he was very charismatic, he was young, he was attractive. He was also somewhat of a idiosyncratic character because he's a French Canadian from Quebec. The Conservative Party usually doesn't do very well in Quebec, and for someone to be kind of so French Canadian and so Quebecois and be such a outspoken conservative was very unusual. So he was a very interesting and eccentric character.
He's been in the news a lot lately for taking some very un-Quebec-like positions, if I can put it that way, against a federal role in healthcare, against public funding for the new arena in Quebec City. So let's start with this. Susan, to you first. Why is Maxime Bernier seen by some to be a guy worthy of attention right now?
He's a big personality. He's attractive. I don't mean to be trivial, but that doesn't hurt. He's immensely popular in his area of Quebec, in the Beauce, and he speaks with a certain clarity, as ideologues often do.
After less than a year, he was promoted to Minister of Foreign Affairs, which is obviously a job that already makes you somewhat of a celebrity, at least in a political context, because you get a lot of more media exposure when you're going to UN conferences or you're meeting with other foreign affairs ministers, and this is obviously a very big stepping stone into becoming a political celebrity. Bernier, however, got embroiled in controversy the day he took office as Minister of Foreign Affairs. In fact, he got embroiled in scandal right at his inauguration as Minister of Foreign Affairs because of a woman that was accompanying him to the ceremony. This woman's name was Julie Couillard, and a lot of articles from back in the day refer to her as his girlfriend. I think nowadays we would probably say that she was his situationship, but regardless, they were together at the time. And initially there were a lot of comments that criticized her for her clothing, saying that she was too scantily dressed and like this was unbecoming or inappropriate for the wife of a foreign minister. But this was quickly overshadowed by the fact that people found out that she had been associated with the Hells Angels biker gang.
Maxime Bernier's former girlfriend, Julie Couillard, first caught the public's attention last summer when she accompanied Bernier at his swearing-in as Foreign Affairs Minister. Today, Couillard's alleged ties in the 1990s to biker gangs and organized crime dominated the headlines.
The scandal really boiled over in May 2008 when it was revealed that Maxime Bernier left secret NATO documents at the house of Julie Couillard. Now obviously this was a very big scandal because he mishandled top secret government documents, like someone else you might know, but it also kind of expanded into a broader personal drama between Julie Couillard and Maxime Bernier. This was especially the case when Julie Couillard wrote a memoir about her relationship with Maxime Bernier, and she very harshly criticizes Maxime Bernier in her memoir, calling him lazy, vain, only caring about his appearance, appearing gay. So yeah, Maxime Bernier became very infamous in the Canadian public. Now I think this is a great example of celebrification. The celebrification of Maxime Bernier as a politician obviously happens in a kind of ritualized personalization in media. So his private life, in this case his private relationships, being exposed to the public in the media. He like fits the characteristics of celebrities that Driessens sets out in his text more broadly, because on the one hand he's like this very extraordinary person, you know, a very powerful politician, a public speaker, future leader of his party. But on the other hand, he's also very ordinary because he has relationship drama and he has kind of personal qualities that may or may not be relatable to some. Now, Julie Couillard is probably closer to what Driessens describes as a celebtoid, so basically a transient celebrity that doesn't become famous because of talent or because of merit, but because the media kind of creates her as a celebrity. Now in the short term, this celebrification obviously hurt Maxime Bernier because he was kicked out of cabinet and not really given any role for the rest of the Harper government. But it also significantly elevated Bernier's personal brand as someone who was kind of rebellious and eccentric. After the Conservative Party lost power in 2015, Maxime Bernier ran to replace Stephen Harper in the 2017 party leadership election. And despite the fact that we had like immense name recognition as someone who was like controversial and eccentric, but also charismatic and obviously played to a lot of party supporters, and the fact that the way that the Conservative Party elects a leader is kind of I don't want to say rigged, but it certainly favors politicians from Quebec. He lost. He very narrowly lost to Andrew Scheer, who was the sort of more boring character.
And the next leader of the Conservative Party of Canada with 51% of the vote.
Le prochain chef, Andrew Scheer.
Maxime Bernier had led throughout the previous 12 ballots.
This was partly attributed to the fact that, as I said earlier, Maxime Bernier is a French-Canadian from Quebec, and the Conservative Party of Canada is overwhelmingly by and for English Canadians. So a lot of them might not have wanted to vote for someone as Quebecois as Maxime Bernier.
Don't take this the wrong way, okay?
Yeah.
Don't take
You're
this
a
the
good
wrong
guy, so I won't.
Don't take this the wrong way. Because your English is way better than my French.
Yeah.
But your English, is it good enough to be Prime Minister of Canada?
I think so. I think so.
It's
but I will have always that accent, and I won't be able to change that. But I can be a little bit better in grammatical rules sometime. And but yes, but the more I practice, the better I am. So
I know that they used to joke about Jean Chrétien not speaking either official language particularly well.
Bernier did not stay in the Conservative Party of Canada for long. He left the party in August 2018 and founded his own party in September 2018. The coverage that coincided with these developments is also interesting from a point of celebrification, because the media really played to Maxime Bernier as a political celebrity. So while they did focus on like policy disagreements with the Conservative Party, there was also a lot of focus on the personal angle, like Maxime Bernier supposedly having had a fallout with Andrew Scheer, and speculation that he was like motivated by personal goals and ambition rather than policy. Some people even accused him of being a sore loser. Now, the People's Party of Canada is a sort of right-wing populist party, so Maxime Bernier initially talked a lot about restricting immigration, which at the time was like a very big no-no in Canadian politics. And during COVID, he very much spoke up against like COVID public health measures and lockdowns. He once even got arrested.
The other hand?
That's People's Party of Canada leader Maxime Bernier being arrested in Manitoba today.
And this kind of ties into my broader point. Bernier really portrays himself as this kind of populist hero whose eccentricity and previous scandals kind of show that he's like unabashed. And in crafting that personal narrative, Bernier has also significantly used culturalization. So I think this picture is a very good example of this. This, by the way, was not made by his fans, but actually by the party. In the picture, he's kind of making a cultural reference to the Mad Max series of movies. Mad Max having been a previously kind of derogatory nickname used for Bernier, and he kind of uses this cultural reference to enforce his personal brand. Now, I was just talking about his fans, and there's like an element of socio-political interplay involved, because his fans refer to themselves as Bernier Bros, which is obviously a reference to the Bernie Bros phenomenon in the USA. Very online, like very male, sort of centric fans of Senator Bernie Sanders in the US, who is obviously twice presidential candidate for the Democratic Party, and another politician who has kind of become a personal celebrity by branding himself as this populist outsider. Now, the People's Party of Canada has not been very successful. It has never elected anyone to Canadian Parliament, but I would argue that this has more to do with kind of the Canadian political system and political history, because the current leader of the Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, is actually very similar in both style and substance to Bernier.
All right, guys, I'll keep this quick. It's common sense Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre coming to you from Parliament Hill with the choice.
So this kind of shows you that the kind of style of politics, the aggressive focus on personal branding, using social media in ways that celebrities would kind of directly addressing their audience, is also becoming very prevalent in Canada. And you could perhaps say that Maxime Bernier just wasn't there at the right time, but that the kind of practices of celebrity that he used to establish himself as kind of a political celebrity are now more prevalent than ever.